guys see like Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff, like just a roster, if you will, of women that they can just check off their list with. And for me, that's not how I roll. I'm very picky. I don't care if I see someone who is very attractive and his personality's not there, then I will not get that instant gratification. I will put you to the left. Because I'm looking for more than just that quick satisfaction. I want a long term. And that's the issue with our generation because they're so used to getting everything they want when they want it, with technology, with transportation, with jobs, since now they can just filter through what kind of employees they want or whatever jobs they want to make a perfect match. Everything's about like keywords and qualifications together. And what I want is just people to be genuine and be themselves. And that's not what people are. People are just looking for keywords and people's different bios and try and match it with themselves to make it instantly satisfied, but not long term, if that makes sense. And that's why chivalry, is it? You know what I'm saying? It's dead. So in this world, it's just not good anymore.
I think for a lot of my friends, they're in relationships that are not long distance. They are very, like 30 minutes away or an hour away is the furthest. So they have a little bit more accessibility for proximity wise to their partner. But I feel like, so for my friends, in that case, I feel like I see a lot of people sort of get caught up in social media. Like they'll read things that weren't supposed to be read in a certain way. Sometimes certain apps glitch and they'll like lie and say that you were on at a certain time when you weren't on at a certain time, and then if your significant other sees that, they might like question you and it might bring up different things. And I feel like technology is a little bit more of a barrier then, because then it brings arise a bunch of issues as far as like when you're in person, then you're always on your phone, or there are social media issues that are apparent, or they are present in relationships that are.
Are you happy in your long distance relationship?
I am. I do. I think technology definitely benefits our relationship because, like I said, we're long distance. So being able to have the accessibility to speak with him at any second that I want in any instant, via text message, via FaceTime, phone call, it makes things very easy. So that way it doesn't feel like he's missing anything. Whereas I know, like back then, back in like when our parents were our age, like they didn't really have the accessibility of cellular phones. They had to use like landlines, so they couldn't really, they'd have to pick a time and a date to call somebody, and like I don't think that would have worked for long distance for us. So I really think technology has really helped us.
I'm in a situation where for monogamy, I'm very like, I like this person, like I want to see where it goes, and I never really give myself the option to explore multiple partners and what they can offer. And so I find that for me at least, like I like to be courted and I like to go out or whatever the case may be. And I feel that nowadays people are so quick to invite you to their homes, which I feel like is a very intimate setting. There's always the risk of that person, I don't know, being an abuser, or can kind of put your safety at risk. And men are very quick to invite women over, and I feel like you don't even know her intent. Like she can be dangerous as well. And with technology, I actually met one of my partners. She goes to USF, and we actually met on Tinder, and that's the first time that Tinder has been successful for me in pursuing a relationship or a partner. And so with her, like we weren't quick to, hey, like come over. Like we went to a cafe, and then after we did like the river walk and like the cheesy sunset kind of feel, and we spoke on a bench. And so with that, I feel like technology is like pros and cons. I feel that people have kind of turned effective communication into a obsessive thing, almost like wanting to know your partner's day and what they did today is like too much. Like she's like stuck on me or whatever the case may be, which I don't really think is it. I feel like to get to know someone, you have to talk. Like that's anything. Like communication is the foundation for a successful relationship. And so I feel as though
that kind of importance on communication has been lost and kind of like ridiculed in a sense, which I find like ridiculous. And so technology has made communication easier, but then also like a downside to that as well. Like people are not really trying to have that kind of face-to-face talk, or they, to a certain extent, I kind of believe that it has taken away from people's communication skills, but then I also think like no.
Yeah, and I do think it gets better with time. Like 5 years ago, I didn't think we would be here in 5 years. I feel like technology has really benefited us in that sense, because maybe if I had went away to college and we didn't have the technology that we have, we probably would have drifted apart and we wouldn't have advanced. I would have been able to see the growth that my partner has been able to do as far as growing in adulthood, and he wouldn't have been able to see my growth. So us being able to grow individually, but also together via technology, because we get to talk to each other all the time. It's really helped us, and I'm really happy.
I feel as though I've had a lot of past partners who have been very chivalrous, like open the door for me, or like, you know, like we're walking down the side of the road or whatever the case may be, and he made sure to be on the outside and like stuff of that nature. Or I've had women do so as well. I feel like that idea of instant gratification has taken away from the steps almost, and that looks different for everyone. Not everyone is looking for a relationship, and that's fine, obviously. Very sex positive. You do what you do with your body. You feel as though you don't want a partner, but you like sexual pleasure, and that's fine as well. But I feel like you kind of like skip the steps. Like, I get to know her, then, you know, we spend whatever certain amount of time, whatever that looks like for you, and then we get intimate or whatever the case may be. And so I feel like with that instant gratification, a lot of people have not felt the need to go out of their way with flowers, or, you know, like take her on a date and not necessarily push for sex, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I feel like since there's no particular order anymore, that kind of need to court and make that woman feel special is not necessary. But I also feel like it's the age group that we're in. Like, not everyone's looking to settle down. They're trying to explore. They're, you know, college. Like, why be tied down when there's so many options and so many people willing to do what I want to do without having to be in a relationship? And I think that takes away from courting as well, because the need to court was, well, if I court her, like, maybe I'll get lucky. Whereas, like, people are getting lucky without having to do so. And so it takes away from the importance in that, like, learning period in which, like, ooh, like, I held the door open for her and, like, she was surprised, like, the shock, you know, or whatever the case may be. And so I feel like just that, the lack of importance at this age group, like, we've changed. Like, the rate of successful marriages have gone down, like, the rate of divorce has increased, and, you know, the economy itself, like, we can't afford, you know, this kind of lifestyle to do so. And so back then, with our parents, getting married at 20 was regular. Everyone was getting married at 20. Everyone was establishing their families, getting into careers, and now we're at the point where college is crazy expensive, and people are not finishing as early as they used to, and not being in that financial capacity to have a family and raise a family. And so the deadline has almost pushed. Like, we're doing that later in our 20s as opposed to early 20s. So I feel like all that importance has shifted.
It works for some people, but not for all. I can see, like, he thinks a year, like, he knows her for a long time. But nowadays, like, me growing up, I don't think a year is knowing somebody. That's just getting away from, like, the honeymoon stage. I think if you know someone more than 4 or 5 years, like, that's when you know that's your person. But it is a change of my morals. I believe taking your time into a relationship, because marriage is forever. I'm only going to get married once. And people are like, that's what you say now, but I don't believe in remarrying, because if that's your soulmate, that's your soulmate, because that's what marriage is all about.